We're back on 8 News Now with CCSD Superintendent Dr. Jesus Jara. Dr. Jara, we finished with your ambitious goal of being the most improved district in the nation in 5 years. You have goals of a 90% graduation rate, higher proficiency in math and science, and a dramatic increase in college and career-ready diplomas. Now, other than funding, which we've addressed, what specifically needs to happen to ensure meeting that goal in 5 years?
Well, so I'll tell you, I mean, there's been a couple things that, and it's just really an acceleration of the work. I mean, you know, the previous administration started, you know, really moving the needle. Our graduation rate, the NAEP scores going up. It's a, let's put a strategic plan together and really stay focused on student outcomes and really have a sense of urgency that all children can learn at high levels. And I think what we have come together with this plan is really, it's a community that's investing in our schools, but really addressing some of the biggest challenges. And when you talk about our advanced placement, our IB, our dual credit, really opening the doors for kids that can do a great job and perform at high levels. And that's what I think about the graduation rate, to really look at, you know, I don't want my kids just to graduate and go on to out of high school and not get into a great career, or going into college and without remediation. So we partner with our NC partners here in the higher ed community to help us. So we address the remediation in our high school. So it saves the family money and the higher ed institutions. So putting this plan together, I believe it puts everybody in a clear focus that student outcomes are the #1 priority.
One of the things every parent watching hopes for their son and daughter is safety at school. The governor talked about using a portion of the 10% marijuana tax in terms of preventing violence. That's over $76 million. Now, I know more behavioral specialists will be hired, more security. Will that additional security staffing be the same for all schools? How will you do that?
Well, we're you know, first of all, it's a great start, and really looking at some of the funding that we're getting from, you know, hopefully it makes it through the legislative session. But I think it's the piece that we already started in September, when, you know, after the issue that we had at Canyon Springs High School, then I put together a superintendent's advisory task force really on safety. What is it that we need to do? So one of the things that we're doing is really putting together, you know, getting an assessment of our facilities, right? Because, you know, we have some campuses at 28 entry points. How do we keep our children safe? 20% of our kids do not feel safe in school today, which to me, not only as a superintendent, but as a father, that's an issue that we need to address. Our kids, as you mentioned, need to feel safe in school. So we're looking at police officers. You know, we also, 2 weeks ago, just swore in 4 K-9 officers, you know, really about firearm detection to really prevent some of these things from happening coming onto our campuses.
You talked about that task force early in the year, and I was curious, how do you feel the progress has been? Those K-9, those are big hires. Overall, when you look at the progress, do you feel like you're getting closer to achieving that goal on your own with the task force?
We are, and the money's going to help us bring some of those things in, because we're going to do the assessment, then we're looking at police officers. The mental health issue for our children is also, it's a great need. So what do we do? How do we get more adults on our campuses to help them? So we're moving forward. You know, we started the random searches as well, and listening to our kids in the superintendent's advisory task force. One of the things that, you know, the kids are great. When you talk to them, they tell you, you know, superintendent, that was a great idea, because at least you don't know when it's coming. Sure. So it keeps us honest.
They bring it real too.
They do.
They're a genuine good source of information about what is needed. You did a district-wide listening tour back in September. 100 CCSD schools, also 100 meetings with community members. You told me and others then you would be out there, you'd be visible, you'd be in the community. No one can argue that you have done that. What is something you learned in those early meetings that you have been able to make a tangible impact or improvement on?
I think the public trust is one of the things that I heard loud and clear, that the community didn't trust CCSD for whatever reason. You know, they don't trust where the money's coming from and all this. So we have started putting out all our finances out on a monthly basis, sharing it with the board. We did last month, we'll do it again this month, where we are, where we're going to end up. I think the transparency in our data has also been something, our academic data and our discipline data, and then sharing with the community, here's our issues here, but then here's how we're going to fix it. As I said at the State of the Schools, you know, I inherited what we have, but I own it, and we're all going to fix it.
We have to wrap up within the minute. As you think about the lawmakers in Carson City, fighting the snow, of course, maybe doing some shoveling, but also you're hoping really good decisions. What do you really hope from them in terms of getting things passed and CCSD benefiting?
The funding formula.
Yes.
That needs to be fixed.
1967 is a long time ago.
It is. I think, our kids were using, well, not our kids, but we're using payphones. Our kids are on computers nowadays. I mean, that's how fast we've progressed, and we need to make sure that happens in our funding formula.
We always appreciate you making time for us at 8 News Now. Thank you so much, and continued success with your work within CCSD. Dr. Jesus Jara, we're going to now send it back to the desk and to Christiane.